you know how the story originally broke? The Packers podcaster named Big B.
Shut up, Big B.
Jamal Williams is inside the 30, out in front, a Green Bay touchdown.
Jamal Williams is the GOAT, the GOAT. That's all you need to know.
Okay, let's keep it under 25 minutes, all right?
We might be too young to have a spotted cow, but we are both diehard Packers fans. Welcome back into the Underage Packers podcast. This is episode 157. We've made it a long way. It has been 2 years now since we have recorded a playoff preview episode, but we are so back, baby. Green Bay Packers, Dallas Cowboys, 7th seed versus 2nd seed in Arlington, Texas, at the stadium I was at just 2 weeks ago now. Oh, man. This is exciting. I have not felt, obviously, this excitement for a Packers game in a really long time. So this week has been awesome, and I cannot wait for Sunday. I'm Joey. We thank you for tuning in, and joining me to preview this Dallas Cowboys game is my friend Big B. How are we feeling on playoff week?
Boy, the energy in my body right now is just through the roof. I absolutely love the playoff energy. And, it feels so good to be back in the playoffs after missing the playoffs last year. And, hopefully we finally get a win after, 3 long years now it's been without a playoff win?
Yes. And you know what? What's even crazier, it's been 3 years without a playoff win. The last time they won a wild card game, not that, their 2 past wins have been divisional wins, and that's better than wild card. No shit, you don't even need to tell you that. But the last time they won the wild card, when even would that be? Because 19 they had a bye. 2.
16?
Well, yes.
I think it was 16,
So
right?
18, 17, 16, yeah. Last time they had a wild card win, it was at Lambeau against the Giants. Last time they had a wild card win on the road would be 15 when they went to Washington. So yeah, big stakes here for this Jordan Love-led team, youngest team to make the playoffs in quite some time as well. So we're going to preview this game today and just take in all the vibes of this exciting week. So, first thing, just this preview on this Dallas team, they're very sound on both sides of the ball. Their biggest hole would be their run defense, allowing over 4 yards per carry. And that brings me to my first point with the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Jones needs to get the ball so many times this game. He needs to, I wish the best for Aaron Jones' health, but I hope he runs the ball so many times that on Monday he does nothing but sits in bed and eats Doritos, eats junk food, not to the point where it harms his ability. But I need him to be absolutely exhausted after this game. Okay. And like I said, I wish the best for Aaron Jones. And I don't wish him any injury. But he just needs to be run over and over and over and over again. Not only because Aaron Jones is a really good player, and we've learned so many times that good things happen when he gets the ball, but also just this matchup specifically. He's done so great against Dallas in every single matchup he's had against them. He's rushed for over 100 yards in every single matchup against Dallas, 3 of them. And then also, like I said, Dallas's hole is the run defense. Okay, it really shouldn't be that complicated. The key to the game of Green Bay winning last year against Dallas was Aaron Jones having one of his best games of the season. Last year, he had 138 carries, or Jesus Christ, 138 yards on 24 carries. There it is. Really good day for Aaron Jones. He only had 1 touchdown that day, but he really opened up everything for that offense. This was the Christian Watson breakout game. He had 3 touchdowns, and most of the stuff that Christian Watson was doing that day was on play action over the middle. So that's all a factor of Aaron Jones. And then also, looking at the way that teams have beat Dallas this year, Dallas has 5 losses on the year. Bills, Dolphins, 49ers, Eagles, and Arizona, which is very funny. But in those games, those teams have averaged 35.8 carries. That's pretty crazy. And it's not like all of those, I think the only rusher to have over 100 yards in those 5 losses against Dallas was James Cook for Buffalo. He had 179 yards, which is just crazy. But it's not like these teams are running all over in them yardage wise, but they just know to batter down this Dallas defense. You just have to run it over and over again, stick to the process. 35.8 carries is pretty nuts. I'm sure that's well above the Packers average. And I'm sure, for those other teams, it was well above their average too. I think Buffalo had like 41 against them. So this game is going to be, I was going to say won or lost by Aaron Jones, but I think if this team wins, it's going to be because Aaron Jones has a good day and the defense doesn't screw it up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my thoughts on it, Big B. I mean, what do you think about this matchup? Sticking with Packers offense versus Cowboys defense, what do you think of that side of the ball?
Yeah, well, I'm just gonna go right off of what you said, and the two of the losses came from the Shanahan coaching tree, so you can clearly tell that Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator, has troubles against the Shanahan offense. So that's huge going into this game since Matt LaFleur is from the Shanahan system, and they really taken advantage of his defense throughout the year. So that could be definitely a positive sign going into this game. And also, like you said about the play action, just getting the running game going and having the offense off of the play action will be huge for the success of this team in this game.
Yeah, I'm writing an article that will be out for Ohana Packers by the time this episode is out on just it's on the three most important players for the Packers to win this game. Aaron Jones is number one. And I think my first line in my graph for Aaron Jones is, Aaron Jones can take this offense from being a fun and exciting young one to a group that can win big games. And they won games without Aaron Jones fully healthy or without Aaron Jones in the lineup. But we've seen these past 3 weeks how, I mean, Aaron Jones can just take this offense to another level. I mean, they probably don't win that Chicago game if they don't have Aaron Jones in the lineup. And he honestly in that Chicago game was, I mean, I know we debated, or I refuse to say it was his best performance, and I still don't think it is. I think honestly his 4 touchdown performance against Dallas in 2019 was his best performance of his career. But I do think he showed some things we've never seen from him before, or maybe not exactly that, but he was doing things at a higher level than we've ever seen before. As far as his grit and tough runs on third down were pretty insane. And more so, like, he had a few of his runs where it's like, the trademark of his game is just his shifty cuts, detecting a hole and booming through it. That's the key to his game. But more so, like, he was willing to take some contact and fought through it in that game against Chicago. So Aaron Jones is really hitting his stride, getting healthy at the right time. This past 3 weeks, Carolina, Minnesota, and Chicago, that was the first time in his career that Aaron Jones has rushed for over 100 yards in 3 straight games, which is kind of surprising. So he is really hitting his stride. And like I said, I think all it comes down to is that if the Packers end up winning this game, it's going to be because Aaron Jones had a big day. And I think he's well proved his worth for the Packers to keep him next year, despite his messy contract situation. As far as what you mentioned about the Shanahan offense giving Dan Quinn some troubles, that's what Stephen Ruiz on the Ringer NFL show mentioned. They're 2 of the losses they had this year. Of course, you mentioned McDaniels in Miami, and then Shanahan in San Fran, and San Fran just decimated them. They scored 40 points on them. Now, obviously, like, some of that is talent based, and even like McDaniels is really, it's Shanahan based, obviously, but he has so many different wrinkles in there. But I do wonder, maybe is there's something, this feels like an amateur take, but is there something maybe to the fact that, the Falcons offense that McVay, Shanahan, and LaFleur, I believe McDaniel was there too, the 2012 or 13 Falcons to 16 that went to the Super Bowl. Quinn was head coach, and then he had all these offensive Shanahan esque geniuses on his offensive staff. Maybe there's something to them knowing his playbook a little bit, having his number. I don't know. I could be completely off on that, but it is connection I thought of at least.
Yeah, that's not the craziest thing you have ever said. So that's all. I'll give you that one.
Definitely not. Um, okay, I think that's all I have for the Packers offensive side of things. I mean, we didn't hit too much on the receiving game, but we know what they're capable of. Christian Watson was limited today. He would obviously be massive to have in this game. Luke Musgrave, hopefully he's healthier and can take some more snaps. And Romeo Doubs too with his ribs. It looks like, if I had to guess, I think his label will be questionable when the injury report comes out tomorrow. So those Dobbs, Musgrave, and Watson are all definitely 3 injuries to keep an eye on because they can really, I mean, we've seen this Packers receiving group excel in the past 3 weeks, even without one of them in the lineup. But they can really, I know earlier in the year I said this offense cannot work with one of Musgrave, Jones, or Watson. So to have all 3 of them in a game, I don't know if that's ever happened this season where they have all 3 of those guys in the game at once. That would, yeah, because Jones got hurt in week 1, missed a good part of the early half of the season. Same with Watson, and then Watson has a really good game against Kansas City, gets hurt at the end of that. Musgrave also had an early season injury, I want to say, and then has had this. He had the lacerated kidney that he was on IR for a long time. So yeah, it would be massive to have all 3 of those guys out there. On the other side of things, the Green Bay defense against the Dallas offense, this is where it gets concerning. Yeah, they have a lot of weapons. That like I didn't even realize they had Brandon Cooks on there. So and Brandon Cooks is one of the most underrated wide receivers of the past decade, in my opinion. And so they have Cooks obviously, and then CeeDee Lamb. 1,700 yards, 12 touchdowns this year. Michael Gallup, and then of course Jake Ferguson. They can present a lot of problems. And I wanted to look up. I was like, I feel like I know the Dallas Cowboys offense coordinator. They don't have Kellen Moore anymore, and McCarthy's calling the plays this year. But I was like, man, who is Dallas offense coordinator? And I looked it up, and it's the son of Marty Schottenheimer, who was a big influences in McCarthy's career. But the only reason I want to bring this up, and I didn't want to talk about Schottenheimer's scheme at all. I just wanted to say when I looked it up, it included Brian's middle name in it, and his middle name is Cornelius. So I just thought it was funny when I looked up who is the Dallas Cowboys offense coordinator, and it spat out in big bold letters, Brian Cornelius Schottenheimer. It's like, man, you're really setting this guy up to be made fun of for his middle name being Cornelius. But anyways, they have a lot of playmakers over there. CeeDee Lamb specifically, he is so dangerous. In the slot, he took 57% of snaps inside the slot this year, 43 out wide. So there's going to be matchups all over the field that Dallas is going to be able to utilize, or there's going to be mismatches all over the field for the Cowboys to be able to move CeeDee Lamb around. It's going to be the biggest test all year for this Packers defense, really for both sides of the ball, biggest test all year. But for this defense, they have not faced a wide receiver group like this. They faced some tough wide receivers. They shut down Justin Jefferson a few weeks ago. But just the amount of dangerous playmakers they have on Dallas is going to be a challenge, and also just I'm really struggling today. The diversity of skill sets between their skill position players. It's going to be tough for the Green Bay Packers defense. They got Tony Pollard in the backfield, who has really hidden his stride this year. And Dak Prescott is playing some of the best football of his life. So, big challenge for this defense. Big B, what are your thoughts on how Joe Ayers' group might do on Sunday?
Oh boy, well, it's either going to be a blowout or a very close game. So, the defense is probably going to have to force at least a few turnovers in this one if we're going to win this football game. But, honestly, right now I feel okay with this defense going against this offense.
Based
I
off of their last two performances?
based off of my faith, all right.
Oh, okay.
I feel very confident with our corners going up against these wide receivers. I think Jair and Valentine will be good. It's good to go. Nixon's the only one that is scaring me in the slot because I'm sure they'll take advantage at him a few times this game.
Yeah, the being in the slot for CD is definitely going to be something to watch. And I mentioned that a lot in my article for Ohana Packers, so I'm not gonna spoil all the research I did there. But we've seen how the slot receivers can destroy this Packers defense a few times this season, and really that is kind of the key to destroying the Joe Barry defense that aims to limit explosive plays. Right? If you can because of how far off they play with their coverage, if you can have a wide receiver that catches it, because they're going to let you have 5 yard receptions, right? They're going to let a wide receiver get open 5 yards ahead of the line of scrimmage. They're going to let you have that. So then the challenge is, though, getting past, well, the goal is for the challenge to be to get more than 5 yards off of the catch. And CeeDee Lamb is really good after the catch. So that can really destroy a Joe Barry defense in, an ideal world where Joe Barry's defense goes how the philosophy expects it to. And it has multiple times this season. So yeah, that's definitely something to watch. One thing we didn't mention as far as the Dallas defense is Micah Parsons, obviously. I know we talked about it earlier in the week. Pass rush can be the great equalizer. Adam Sinovich said Parsons, and the way they use him, reminds him of how Texans used to use Jadeveon Clowney. Parsons is just so athletic. Not only obviously he's a threat pass rush wise, but then also, he is just a high motor player. So he's not going to let much by him. Not that he's out in coverage because they have Dan Quinn as their defense coordinator, not Joe Barry. But he's not. It's not going to let much by him.
Just like last year, I think we just gotta just continue to run at him constantly and try to have Micah be a traditional linebacker because
Yes.
once you run at him, Micah's so focused on the quarterback majority of the times, and he just forgets all the other assignments. So, just run at Micah, and I should be a great way to minimize Micah's effect on this game, and I'm sure he's going to get
Yep.
his, of course, because he's just one of those players who, no matter what you have schemed up and planned against him, he's going to get a few plays to go his way. But that's just one flaw in Micah and one way that I expect Matt LaFleur and Adam Stenavich to attack him.
Yeah, and we did mention, earlier in the week how the Packers have been very good at neutralizing these elite pass rushers so far this season. Now, the fear is Micah has a game like Nick Bosa did in 2019 or 2021. A pass rusher can just completely ruin things.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully it's Rashawn Gary having that type of game though. And also, as far as he'll probably mostly be going up against Rasheed Walker. And somebody on our YouTube comments actually pointed out that Walker and Parsons they were teammates at Penn State. So Rasheed has gone up against Micah many times in practice. I went down a deep dive and found Rasheed's interview at the combine where he's asked about Micah, and he just really complimented his athleticism, and also ironic that he's playing for Mike McCarthy's team now because Rasheed also mentioned his good pad level. So there's that. So yeah, it is a tough opponent for the Green Bay Packers. No two ways about it, but this is a tough matchup for Dallas too. Dallas State 7.5-point favorites, but just the way Green Bay kind of matches up with them, the Packers offense is third in offensive DVOA right now, and it should be an interesting game. And I'm really excited for this, and I'm almost hopeful about it. What's got me really excited is the fact that when I listen to not only Packers podcasts, but then also just like NFL podcasts, people are really giving the Packers a chance. So my hopes are up there. I'm more confident about the Packers beating the Dallas Cowboys this week than I was last week about the Packers beating the Bears. So that we got that going, at least for me. If you really care about my confidence and well-being.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we do match up very well against them, but it's still the toughest opponent we faced all year. But there's something telling me that something crazy is about to happen, and we're about to have a very good week next week.
Yeah, I mean, I think the something would just be the fact that the Packers are undefeated at AT&T Stadium. They have 2 playoff wins, including Super Bowl 45. 2 playoff wins at AT&T Stadium, and the Cowboys only have 3. So Packers could tie that this week, which is so dumb. Unbelievable for Dallas. Terrible franchise. And I mean, we did mention in last week's episode the main thing giving us confidence was that the fact that it's the Bears and they're probably going to find a way to mess things up. And we know how that turned out.
Yep.
All right. I think it's time to get to our key to the game here, our biggest concern, and our player who is going off this week. For me, the key to the game is staying ahead of the sticks. Dallas defense is really great. They only allow third down conversions 37% of the time, which is actually pretty close to the average, or not the average, but I'm not good at math terms. Whichever one is like close to the middle of the pack. 14th for third down conversion rate, but just stay out of the sticks with how good this Dallas defense is. If you're getting constant third and longs, and they're just going to send Micah after you. Stephon Gilmore can be really good in man coverage, so that's definitely a worry. Big B, what do you got to the key to the game here?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it, I think, enough. So all I'm going to say is just run the damn ball. Just run it. I don't care how you do it. Just give Aaron Jones the football like 25 plus times, and I'll be feeling very good.
All right, on to our biggest concern. Mine is just CeeDee Lamb. We can't have a Julio Jones type of game. That's just my biggest worry. I'm like, the Packers can probably survive if he has 100 yards, touchdown, maybe 2. But anything more than that, and he's probably breaking the back of Green Bay. What do you have, Big B? What are your biggest concern this week?
I'm terrified of just going into Dallas and just getting absolutely blown out. Like, I just want, just a competitive game throughout. And, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if we win or lose, but just be competitive, just be a close football game, and show that you are meant to be there and that you can build on this game for the future. Just give us that, and I'll feel very good about myself.
Right. There's really not much the Packers have to. Well, I don't like the phrase house money, but there's not much the Packers have to lose this week. They have a lot more to gain. I think no matter what happens, like this should be viewed as a successful season. I just struggle to think of, a blowout would be a thing, but I don't know how much it would just ruin our view of the season. Now, this team really wants to win, obviously. AJ Dillon said yesterday, the mindset is not, we're just happy to be here. They want to do something. So could be really exciting. And really, I think, if they win this game, like we said last week, if the Packers win a playoff game, if they win this game in Dallas, the conversation around them is going to get really interesting. Now, San Fran would be a very, very tough matchup, even tougher than this one against Dallas. But I would be very interested to see what the conversation is like about the 2023 Green Bay Packers if they win a wild card game against the number 2 seed on the road as the youngest team in the NFL. It would be fun. All right, finally, our who is going off guy. I'm going with Jaden Reed, man. He's had some big moments. He had a great game against Chicago. I just feel like, there was quite a few moments Like he had the third down where they were backed up into near their end zone against Chicago. He had some big moments against Chicago. I feel like there's going to be a big moment where the Packers really need a big play, and Jaden Reed is going to deliver. Book it. Big B, who you got?
Ja Money!
boy.
Let's get it. Ja Money is going to have the game of his life. That man is going to come into this game with a bad ankle and just dominate this ball game. He's going to clamp CeeDee Lamb down. He's going to clamp Brandon Cooks down. He's going to clamp whoever their third wide receiver is. Ja Money is going to be coming back with a vengeance this game. He will get 2 picks in this game, and the Packers will ride into the divisional round on a Jair Alexander pick. Let's go, baby.
Oh, man.
Well, baby.
That's exciting. Yeah. I mean, he's another one of those players where if the Packers win, it will probably be because he has a good game. Not like we don't necessarily need him to get a turnover or anything. I mean, that would be very nice. But man, if he's able to lock down CeeDee Lamb when he's lined up outside and then Gallup Cooks, then yeah, that would be massive. Really, he had his best game of the season last week against Chicago, and let's hope that is an upward trend for Jair in this game.
Oh yeah.
Now speaking about Jair Alexander, I did want to hit on 2 points before we sign off. First off, so Rob Tomofsky had something to say about Jair Alexander. He had some things to say about the Packers. He did a radio hit on Dallas radio station, and man, Twitter went wild. It started yesterday where like somebody tweeted out like it was a Dallas fan, and they just tweeted out like, man, a Packers reporter just went on Dallas radio and said that the Packers would rather have Detroit than Dallas. And it made it seem more like though that the reporter was mad they were playing Dallas. And I was like, well, that wouldn't make sense. That's a reporter that's kind of overstepping your role as a reporter.
Yes, it definitely sounded like one certain reporter who I will not name who definitely would say something like that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. But so somebody actually posted the video today. It was Rob Domofsky, but no, he was talking about that. No, the Packers probably would have hoped they would have had Detroit instead of Dallas. So it's like, yeah, like if I'm saying this to the people who are mad at Domofsky, it's like, yeah, that makes sense. The Packers dominated Detroit just a few weekends ago. That's a fair take. What people were mainly mad at him for, though, was he said something like Jair is weird, and if he can be a really good player if he wants to, but like sometimes he's just not fully engaged. He said something like he hasn't been good since 2021, which like I disagree with that, but his thing on one Jair being weird is absolutely correct. I think Jair would be the first to tell you that. And I find that to be good, but also like his personality is directly related to his performance on the field, or I wouldn't say directly, but like it is a part of it. Okay, I don't think that's a hot take at all. So it's not like he's just like insulting Jair to insult Jair. I didn't take it as that, at least. And because like he is, to steal from Mark Murphy's lexicon, he is a complicated fella. Okay, this whole injury situation has been weird. Now the people who are saying he's soft and doesn't want to play, I've talked about that multiple times. That is ridiculous. That is so dumb, and people love to speculate on things they don't know anything about. But that it was a little weird. It was a little weird that he was going out to reporters and saying like up front, "Yeah, I'm going to lie to you guys." That was bizarre. And so that's what I'm saying. Like his personality is related to his performance and him as a player. And also the part about being fully engaged, he's correct about that. Also, I mean, last year I remember specifically there was a play against the Bears where it's like a curl route, and Jair. It really looked like he just wanted to get an interception. He was over pursuing that ball instead of staying true to the play, staying back and getting that tackle because he plays in Joe Barry's whack defense. But like he was harming the team for a few weeks there by playing like that. But when he's fully engaged, we saw that, he even, I think, had a comment like that last year that he started to play a little bit differently near the end of last year. And he started to play differently in this game against Chicago. Like, he can play fine. So, long story short about Tomalski, I think he was accurate. I think people need to realize it's not a reporter's job. Like, actually, it's the opposite of a reporter's job to be a cheerleader for the team. They're allowed to have opinions, though. And I don't think they, like, some people were making out, well, I know it's not his job to support the team, but he is actively rooting against it. It's like, no, like, he's I guess where people were getting that from was his statement on the fact that they'd rather have Detroit. It's like, no, that is opinion supported by facts and results from earlier this year. So that's my thoughts on it. I don't think people should be going off on Rob Domowski. Big B, any thoughts on Robbie?
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you just said. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that this is even being talked about. But I will say one more thing on it is I really liked what Aaron Nagler said in Transplants, where, Rob has to deal with Jair on a daily basis pretty much. And, definitely through a stretch of his weird, like, locker availabilities, Rob has to deal with Jair professionally when he's just goofing off pretty much. So you can, if you look at it that way, you can see why, I guess, Rob is saying that kind of, and also why he could be frustrated with it. But then again, it's like, who cares, man? Like, who cares?
Well, I mean, I don't even think, like, to me, though, that makes it sound like when he's saying he's weird, he is just saying that to try to be mean and saying it as like a personal point of insult. But
Yeah, I guess.
I don't, but I do agree with that to an extent too. I mean, like when Rob is trying to get quotes from Jair, like, I mean, think to the Carolina coin flip situation, like, I mean, Jair, like, that press conference, I think it was actually Rob that asked the question that no, it's maybe Schneidman who asked Jair, like, you don't think that was kind of like selfish of you, or like you didn't ask for permission, like you didn't think that, like you made the decision. Like, usually it's the captain has the call from LaFleur what they want to do with at the coin toss, and Jair just went out there and made the decision for himself, because he wanted to see the defense out there. And I think it was Schneidman that asked a question that got Jair, like, pretty much flamed on Twitter once he got suspended. So, anyways, I think we'll end it there on Domowski. All I'm saying is Domowski is a fellow Dr. Pepper enjoyer, so I don't think we should attack him.
Oh, yeah. Certainly.
All right. Finally, one last thing I wanted to say before we wrap this playoff preview up. Natty Film at Natty Film on Twitter put together an amazing hype video for the Packers. Now I'm not going to include this in the video because he's already gotten it, like, stolen enough on Twitter. And, like, it's so sad. Like, the tweet that most people are sharing isn't even from his account. So I'm not going to put it in this video. I'm going to include the link in the description, though, and I highly encourage you to watch it because it is awesome. It is put together like a superhero movie trailer. It gets me hype. Like, I watched that to get hyped to film this episode. Okay, so I highly recommend you watch that now and then also before kickoff on Sunday, because it is just fantastic work.
Yes. After I watched that video, I built the wall in my room, ran through the wall, built it again, and ran through it again. Like, I was hype. That thing got me raring to go, and I will definitely be watching before kickoff.
Yes, like I said, we need to find a way to hack the massive video board at AT&T Stadium to play that before, and the Packers would win by 70 if that happens.
Oh, so easy.
Yeah, and I will say, AT&T Stadium, they're doing a whiteout for this game, so all their Dallas fans are supposed to wear white. They even have, like, white T-shirts on all the seats, so you don't even have to worry about bringing your own shirt. You can come shirtless if you'd like. I don't know about all that, but yeah. It will be great. I am excited to see Packers fans travel well. They've usually showed out to AT&T Stadium, so it would be awesome if, like, because all the Cowboys fans wearing white, it's going to be pretty easy to see all the Packers fans. So it would be awesome if Green Bay takes over AT&T Stadium. It's obviously a tough environment. It's an awesome stadium. But I'm really excited to see how this young Green Bay team does. Just how they play in the playoffs, how they adjust to the environment. We've seen them at every stage. Like I said earlier this week, the stage keeps on getting bigger and bigger for them, and they rise to the occasion every week. So I'm excited to see how they do in the NFL playoffs. Big game here against America's team, and I'm America's person, if for that matter. If
that's true.
If that's the standard we're going with, Jesus. Any closing thoughts, Big B, for this wild card preview?
Boys and girls, we have come this far. We have made it to the playoffs wild card round. And why stop here? Why not win this game? Go to San Francisco, then face whoever's going to come after that. Go to the Super Bowl, win that Super Bowl. I don't see why there's a reason we should stop winning. We've got a 3-game winning streak going on. Might as well win 4 more games? Seems easy enough. I don't know. I'm not an athlete or anything like I know, but it's easy enough. Let's go, baby. Go, Pack. Go, baby.
Let's do it, folks. No matter what happens this Sunday, first off, make sure you follow us on Twitter. We'll have reactions throughout it. I'm sure Big B's will be very colorful language no matter what happens. But we'll also be back. We will also be back early next week to recap whatever happens on Sunday. And then, I was going to say we'll do a season recap later next week, but that wouldn't make sense. We're going to be previewing San Francisco 49ers. That's what's going to be happening, folks. So we appreciate you tuning in.
We'll be back next week. Don't worry about it.
Of course. So we appreciate you tuning in. Make sure to follow us on all the socials. Let's do this thing, baby. Go, Pack, go.